So how do you think it turned out? Oh, you like it? Yeah, I think it's pretty elegant too. It's kind of like a colonial craftsman, pretty timeless, I would say. Yeah, I could agree more. I think it's just beautiful. You guys did great work. Just really admire the molding and detail work you guys put in this wall. I appreciate that. Whoa, didn't see you there. How's it going today, guys? This is Tanner with Woodgrain. Yet another beautiful accent wall brought to you by Woodgrain. We specifically designed this to create a timeless colonial type look. We're calling this Colonial Squared. It definitely is a timeless kind of in between colonial and craftsman type design. We went with a dark, deep, moody type paint. So this is like a charcoal gray. With a little hint of blue into that, and matches all the molding and trim within the room. So we have a number of different videos on our YouTube channel highlighting different looks and feels on how to create a specific accent wall. Anywhere from modern to craftsman to colonial to Victorian to coastal, we have you covered. So check those out. I really like the dimension, the depth that this look brings to the room. This is a conference room and an office space. It's a deep, moody charcoal color. The two-step profile offers a lot of space and just kind of timeless look. So we used a 6-inch by a 4-inch S4S board by Woodgrain. So there's 5 steps involved to create this specific look. The first being the planning stage. So this is a very important stage. I always recommend getting a pen and paper, drawing out what you're trying to create specifically. You don't have to be a perfect drawer. Obviously, check out mine, it's horrible. But this will give you an idea of what you're gonna need as far as materials, as far as profiles or trim, and it will give you an idea if it's going to fit the design and look you're trying to achieve. So within the planning stage, you're going to determine what tools you're going to need for the project, and that will get you right into your measuring, which is the second step of this project. By 95.5. 123 wide by 95.5. So you're going to want to determine the length and width of your room. Make sure you're writing that down, and then from that you got to determine your spacing. So it can change, you can modify what we've specifically created, but we ended up doing 3 panels down and 4 across. That could be switched to 4 panels up and 3 across. So obviously with that you're going to be changing from rectangles to squares with some of those modifications. But in that measuring stage, determine where your breaks are going to be, determine the sizing of your squares, and that will help you jump right into your installation stage. So within the measuring, we determined the total length of our room. We divided it by how many squares we wanted to do, which was 4, and that really determined where our breaks were going to be. In the measuring stage, I always recommend drawing on the wall, marking it up where those breaks are going to be. You can actually even apply tape to those areas to help kind of visualize where those are going to sit. Third stage in the process is the installations. So installation is a little bit more time intensive. This took us about 3 hours, the fact that we were layering. So we put up backer board to cover up the wall texture to get more of a finished look. From that, we did our first grid of squares, and then we followed that same grid line with our second application of the thinner board. The second board, some of the key insights on that was marking the middle of the bottom board to line these up so it looked consistent and we weren't getting anything scawampus. Up to this point, we've framed everything in, so we have our vertical and horizontal border. Now we're going to fill in our vertical boards running up and down. So keep in mind we're going to have another board running across following the same lines. So this is our first pass. Second pass will kind of give it a lot more dimension. So in the installation stage, definitely the most time intensive. The second most time intensive stage is stage number 4, which is the finishing stage. So this is key. We have a lot of seams joining together, a lot of nail holes to make sure that this thicker, more dense molding could stay on the wall and not have any issues down the road. So we had to use wood putty and caulking for this specifically. So we did caulking in all of our seams, and we had double board, so we had to do twice within these squares, which was a little bit more time intensive. And then we used our wood putty for all of our nail holes, any imperfections, and then went over it with sandpaper. So we used 220, I used a palm sander. If you don't have that, you can obviously sand just with sandpaper. I will say the finishing stage is really key to make sure that this looks professionally done and something that you can be proud of. You can really cover up a lot of imperfections, any big gaps in this stage. Even if you have to go over it twice after sanding, that can really make or break your project. So the last stage in this process is painting. So we ended up painting our accent wall like a deep charcoal, specifically to get a little bit moody and add a pop to this very long white room. With this, it's really important you're masking off, have a ground cloth, and take your time. So there's a lot of cracks and crevices, making sure you're getting underneath these boards that you don't see with the naked eye. Spend time with your roller in the middle of the panel and your brush underneath. If you're using a sprayer, I would say even going over with the brush first and then spraying is always a good bet. So some really quick tips and tricks for this specific wall. I would say using a level was key, just to make sure that we were keeping all of the pattern consistent. Using a pencil, mark things up, it's all gonna be painted anyways. Spending some time with the finishing is key. There's some gaps and imperfection I wish I would have spent a little bit more time on. And the other thing I would say with this wall is actually doing your caulking on your first round of molding before you start your second round. Thanks for following along. I hope this was insightful for you guys. I want to see what you guys are creating. Check us out on YouTube at We Are Woodgrain and on Instagram. Tag us on any accent walls that you're doing specifically in your space, and I want to see what you guys are creating. So that will actually be easier to finish rather than trying to do it while the second board's over the top. I would say this is probably medium difficulty as far as accomplishing this look. A lot of straight lines, just the fact that you're double layering and want to keep this board directly in the center makes it a little bit more challenging, but definitely doable. All things millwork indoors, guys. This is Tanner signing off. Appreciate it.